How floods can impact Nigeria's elections in 2023. Since early October, Nigeria has been counting its losses from the latest floods, which have affected more than 2.5 million people. Many areas of Nigeria have witnessed flooding, which is quickly turning into an annual occurrence and has resulted in the loss of land, lives, and livelihoods. Despite historically challenging events, the present floods appear to be the worst the nation has seen in the previous 10 years. Extreme rainfall and water being released from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon have caused noteworthy flooding in largely southern states for weeks. This exercise is likely to go until November 18th. Since early October, the country has been counting the losses caused by the current spate of flooding. Over 2.5 million people have been impacted, out of whom 1.3 million have been forced to relocate, 2,407 have been injured, and 603 have died in 25 states that have been particularly badly hit. Flooding in Nigeria has thus far been minimized in terms of its socio-political implications and, if at all, highlighted in terms of the financial costs as an isolated environmental concern brought on by climate change. Flooding's multifaceted repercussions, which go beyond simply making economic problems worse, have the potential to influence Nigeria's elections in 2023. What effects will the floods have on the elections in 2023? With the existing security issues, analysts, academics, and policy experts have raised concern about the Independent National Electoral Commission's (INEC) arduous task of conducting the elections. Few people, however, would have taken into account the role that flooding played in the successful conduct of the election. Over 300 towns in Bayelsa State, including the community of former President Goodluck Jonathan, have reported incidents of internal displacement affecting close to 1 million residents. Additionally, vital infrastructure has been lost, including telecommunications systems, hospitals, and bridges. The crucial east-west road has also been taken over, leaving the state essentially isolated from the rest of the nation. Anambra states that a third of its state is underwater, and Kogi in the north-central region has also been impacted by the flooding, thus Bayelsa is not alone. Each of these states is led by a leader from a different political party, demonstrating how this dilemma goes beyond current politicking. Despite the damage caused by the floods, it is evident that there is hope that things will improve in time for the elections. Last Sunday, President Buhari traveled to South Korea for a summit, and the management of INEC has not disclosed any plans to alter election preparations in response to the flooding. But this would be disastrous for a number of reasons. First off, the movement of crucial electoral materials is a major factor in the conduct of elections. The failure to deliver election materials on time to voting locations has previously been attributed to INEC. This occasionally breeds mistrust because some voters assume that the elections have already been manipulated. In most cases, INEC has attributed delivery delays to inadequate transportation systems. Mahmoud Yakubu, the chair of INEC, mentioned this as one of their biggest challenges at a recent event hosted by the CDD and the Open Society Initiative for West Africa that focused on emerging issues influencing the next elections. This is due to the fact that some regions of the nation remain largely inaccessible and are only accessible by motorbike or boat. The destruction of road infrastructure by the floods could impede planning, even the hiring of ad hoc staff, as well as the efficient training and deployment of law enforcement personnel, in coastal states, the South and close to the rivers Benue and Niger. The second issue, which is perhaps more pressing, is the challenge of successfully issuing permanent voters' cards, PVC, to citizens in flood-affected areas. The duty of INEC to making PVCs available would be made more difficult by the loss of some facilities and the relocation of communities. It could also be a problem if voters blame the flooding for the loss of their PVCs and if many people unintentionally lose their right to vote. Even the accepted legitimacy of the elected officials could make the conclusion challenging. Finally, the socio-political climate in which these polls will be conducted is likely to be impacted by the floods. Given the grim reality that 76,168 hectares of agriculture have been largely destroyed and 70,566 hectares have been fully destroyed, there is a well-established association between poverty and vote buying that might be made worse. According to the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development, 90,000 dwellings have been damaged by the floods in some way. This will probably affect how politicians appeal to the voters and whether they utilize financial promises to win their support. Is there cause for optimism? The attention on the effects of climate change in Nigeria is one of the key changes to the political environment. Economics, security, and corruption had been the main topics of prior forecasts and studies, but the current environment has revealed how interconnected numerous concerns are. The effects of climate change in the nation have been linked to a variety of problems, including terrorism and conflicts over resources. Front-runner candidates from the APC's Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the PDP's Atiku Abubakar, and the Labour Party's Peter Obi have all weighed in on the topic of climate change. This encouraging development will be put to the test when the candidates present answers to the farmer-herder conflict brought on by climate change and the complications of terrorism made worse by the dwindling Lake Chad basin. Another direction is the hopeful refocusing of campaigns from a personality conflict to a debate that is more issue-driven. Prior to the floods, party rivalries predominated and campaign violence tarnished numerous candidates and rallies. But these days, candidates are being questioned about how they intend to deal with the underlying issues that contribute to particular national problems, such as the yearly floods. Hopefully, this opens up further discussion about helping displaced people get back on their feet, restoring the infrastructure, and giving flood victims some financial assistance. In the end, it is crucial that an ex start making more thorough preparations to guarantee that the elections held the following year are conducted in a way that does not run the risk of undermining the validity of the results. If you learned anything from this video, then like this video, and then share this video with your close friends. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel as we will release more great videos in the future.